Hey guys, my name is Dexter, and today I want to share my personal experience with something I know way too well, which is overthinking. Now, I've experienced all the four types of overthinking in my own life, and I'm going to be sharing some tips and tools that have helped me and will hopefully help you to reduce the amount of these types of overthinking. Overthinking is something that I have struggled with for a long time in my life, and honestly, it is something that's super annoying. And what I didn't realize for a long time is that overthinking only robs you of your peace, your mental clarity, drains you of your energy, and also takes away your time. Because if you really think about it, when you're overthinking, that is time that you could be spending taking action to reduce that overthinking. But the longer that you overthink, the problem just gets bigger. And one thing I've realized is that you can't think your way out of overthinking. It only comes through making decisions and deciding to act and begin to make progress on those things that you're overthinking that actually helps to calm down those thoughts that are looping within your head. Now, the first type of overthinking is rumination. My personal experience with rumination is that I would dwell on the past for things I might have said, relationships that didn't go right, or just things that I wished I could change. And because of those things, I would always continue to ruminate and dwell on those things and have those thought loops. And one thing that I've realized when it comes to rumination is that dwelling on the past is not going to be able to help you rewrite the past. So the only thing you can do from it is to learn the lessons from it and make sure that you don't take those same actions again in the future. And that will help you to solve that. Because when you start to ask yourself, what are the lessons that I've learned from those things? Then you stop to actually create a solution for yourself on why that happened. So instead of just dwelling on it, you make it something that's actionable. And another thing about rumination that I want to point out is that we can't stop ourselves from the start of rumination, but what we can do is to notice it when it happens and then take the next step to intentionally change our thoughts, because we can't stop our brain from jumping into that. What we're doing now is noticing the emotions that come from the rumination, and once you notice those emotions, those are signs to you to then give you the permission to say, oh, I am ruminating now, so let me jump into something else, change tasks, maybe start moving my body and exercising and shifting my attention and focus into something else. And by doing that, by noticing the times when you're ruminating through mindfulness, what you are doing is being aware of the present moment when you ruminate so that you can more quickly jump out of the rumination. The second type of overthinking is worry. And this is one that I have done more than I'd care to admit. But honestly, worry is something that I have spent too much time on. And I'd say I'm like a professional worrier. And what I would worry about is usually about finance and security. So I would always be anxious about the future, how my finances and stocks were doing. And what that did was it made me not at peace. And even though I was progressing in my life, the worry still stayed. And what I've come to realize when it comes to worry is that you can't worry your way out of anything. And worry doesn't do anything because it's not actionable. So the longer you spend your time worrying about whatever it is that you're worrying about, then it just makes you anxious. And one thing I want to point out when it comes to worry is, unlike rumination where you are overthinking the past, worrying is always about the future, because you're anxious about something that you can't control that's in the future. So when you're thinking about it, you're always projecting out your fears and concerns about what might be, and you replay those in your head, hoping to solve them. Now, what I've come to realize in my own life when it comes to worry is that action is the best solution to worrying. Because when you begin to make progress on the things that you're worrying about, then you actually reduce the worry, because that progress tells you that what you're doing is at least making some effort to move you in the right direction. Something that has helped me when it comes to reducing my worry is to put it into perspective, what you are worrying about. So there's this idea called the circle of control. The circle of control has 3 rings. The inner ring is your circle of control. These are the things that you can actually make and take action on and decide, and they're within your ability to control. The second ring is your circle of influence. These are things that you can't necessarily control directly, but you can influence them. Let's say in your career, you might not be able to control the people around you, but you can influence them into taking certain actions. And the last and third ring is your circle of concern. These are things that are completely outside of your circle of control or your circle of influence. And a lot of the times when we worry about things, we're worrying about things that might be in our concern. And this circle of concern are things we have no control over. So just putting it into perspective to realize if they're not things that you can control or influence, then you should just eliminate them from your worries to begin with. Now, when they are in your circle of control or influence, then those are the things that you can actually take action on. And instead of just worrying about them, by taking steps to make progress on this helps you to reduce the worry because now you're actually acting on them instead of just dwelling in your own thoughts and being stuck in your own head. By the way, if you're looking to stop overthinking, improve your decision making, or make a mindset shift, I come out with a weekly mindset newsletter. It's absolutely free, and I share personal stories that I don't post anywhere else, and it's a great way to connect, so I'll drop a link in the description below. The third type of overthinking is overanalyzing, and this can come in the form of analysis paralysis or decision paralysis. And for me, I would overanalyze many different things in my life, from the small things to the big things, whether they were personal things or things at work, and it really hindered my ability to act and decide. Because in the overanalysis process, the problem with it is you're focusing on the problem and not focusing on the solution. So the way to get out of overanalysis is to actually focus on problem solving and getting your mind into a place where you're coming up with strategy, priority, and a path forward, as opposed to just overanalyzing it. Because usually the thing is, we've already thought out in the process of overthinking all these various scenarios, and it all comes from fear. We're afraid of making the wrong decision, a silly decision, a irreversible decision, or we are just afraid that it won't be the best outcome. And one thing that has helped me to make decisions faster is to realize that there is rarely a perfect decision. So when you are able to realize that progress beats perfection, then what you're doing is reframing your ability to make decisions so that you can learn from them. And when it comes to overanalyzing, when you shift from overanalyzing to problem solving, it could be baby steps at the start. You might not be able to take the entire decision and move with it immediately, but you can take baby steps in your decisions and learn and take an iterative process where you're learning along the way and kind of building that bridge as you go with that decision. So what that's doing is it's making progress as you're learning, and then you're fine-tuning that decision as you go. Another thing I want to point out when it comes to overanalysis is that when you're overanalyzing things, you're thinking of all the different scenarios. But the thing is, you probably know in your mind what are the top 3 that are likely to be the best. So when you're able to prioritize and kind of rank them in an order, then you're kind of giving yourself that top 3 list that you can work through. And that helps you to focus your attention on a more likely solution instead of playing in this kind of peripheral thought where you're still thinking about every single possible outcome when you're not refining it to the ones that are likely to really move the needle for you when you make that decision. And the thing about decision making when it comes to overanalysis is you are stuck in a place where you are here, where you're not taking action and you're just overthinking. And then where you want to be is over here, thinking and then acting. So what needs to happen is have a decision. In the middle is a decision. So this type of overanalysis, the only way you can make through it is to decide and then act on it, and then learn from it, iterate, and move forward. The fourth and last type of overthinking is social anxiety. And this is something that in my own life, I didn't realize for a long time that I had times where I was socially anxious. And this overthinking only led me to be in my own head and made me more socially awkward in situations. And what I've come to realize when it comes to social anxiety is that it is social setting dependent. And what I mean by that is there are going to be different social settings where you feel more comfortable and ones where you don't. Let's say you're meeting in a big hall with a bunch of different people that you don't know, and it's a fancy setting and you feel like an imposter. Then those times you'll probably feel more socially anxious than if it's just a setting where there's 3 people and you know them all well and they're your close friends. Then you would feel less socially awkward, or not even socially awkward at all. So that's why the social setting does make a difference. And what has helped me when it comes to reducing social anxiety is working out. Working out is a great way before you go to a social event. You have your endorphins flowing and you're in a better mood because you've moved your body. And that is a great way to kind of shift your mindset. Another thing that has helped me when it comes to social anxiety is before you go out to the event, actually watching videos about charisma or comedy. These are things that make you feel more lighthearted and more fun in your mind. So when you start to prime yourself in this, then by the time you get to that social setting, you're kind of warmed up in your mind. And it also helps if you start talking to people ahead of the social event, because then you've already exercised your muscle and your voice and you're kind of already flowing. So when you get to the event, you're already ready to kind of go with the flow and be there. And the last thing I want to talk about when it comes to social anxiety and reducing this type of overthinking is if you want to boost your confidence and your feeling of being comfortable in your own skin, one trick that has helped me is to always remember to ground myself in good intentions. And what that does is sometimes when you go into social settings, you have all these fears of being judged for whatever reason. It could be these people are better looking than you, they are more successful than you, they're higher status than you, they're more charismatic and more well-dressed than you. There's a multitude of factors that you could play in your head for why you feel judged and maybe insecure in the moment. But when you ground yourself in good intentions, what you're doing is you're shifting your mindset to go into each social interaction from a place of curiosity and engagement, because you're being genuine and authentic, and no one could ever fault you for wanting to have good intentions with the people that you're connecting with. So when you ground yourself in good intentions, this is a really powerful way to become more comfortable in your own skin, stop overthinking, and reduce that social anxiety. The last thing I want to say about overthinking is that we all experience overthinking in some shape or form. And the thing is, it can become a coping mechanism and a habit the longer that we do it, which is why it's important to start to reduce the amount of overthinking that we do. And personally, I still overthink some things every once in a while, and it's normal. We're all human and we're imperfect. But the thing is, reducing the amount of time that we spend overthinking and noticing when we are overthinking can help us to change our habits and build that self-trust in ourselves to make decisions. So when it comes to overthinking, just remember that rumination is dwelling on the past, and worrying is always thinking about the future, and overanalyzing means you're stuck in indecision, and social anxiety comes from fear of judgment from your surroundings. Now, all the things that I've covered in this video, I hope that they will help you to reduce your overthinking for these 4 types, and that it will help you to gain more clarity so you can move forward with confidence and spend time on things that truly matter for you. So, my name is Dexter. I'm a mindset coach. I talk about self awareness, decision making, as well as living a purpose driven life. If you like this content, please don't forget to subscribe and share this information with someone else who you think could benefit. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye bye.